never really seen done before.
As expected, many people are tuning out in the second season of ReZero because they magically realize the plot is always the exact same in every arc, no matter what happens in it. For some reason that wasn't obvious in the first season, and despite me pointing it out, but now it all of a sudden is. Repetition is such a mood killer, isn't it?
We had not seen up until this point.
But you can always depend on mindless fanboys to find ways for defending the undefendable. Such as this genius over here who uses his golden medal in mental gymnastics for changing the meaning of words. What do you mean it's predictable? It's completely unpredictable because you don't know what's going to happen next. And he mentions a bunch of examples for supporting his claims. If you're a complete idiot like him, I am sure you will agree with what he says here. If on the other hand you have triple digits in your IQ, it won't take more than 3 seconds for realizing the guy changed completely the point of the topic. It's not about predicting what will happen next, it's about how the plot plays out in every arc. It's two entirely different things, and yet this retard thinks he's being smart with all the completely off-topic examples he's providing.
Which have never been seen before.
Using the same logic, Fairy Tail is as good as ReZero because it's equally unpredictable. You don't know who the new bad guys are going to be in every arc. You don't know what their powers are gonna be like, you don't know what their plan is, but you do know how things will play out, don't you now? With the power of friendship making everyone as strong as the plot wants them to be.
It's like nothing we've ever seen before.
And since I am sure many of you watching the video will assume you are smart enough to point it out, let me prevent your idiocy by clarifying that I am not saying the shows I like are not playing out in the exact same way, or that a show can't be good if it has the exact same plot structure in every arc. I am only saying that genius here is not defending the show by calling it unpredictable. For the same reason the first guy who complains about ReZero being repetitive as a reason for not liking it is also stupid, because that's not what makes the show bad. It's the bad writing and the fake tension.
Which we'd never seen before.
But what can you expect when the core audience of such shows demands to be shocked and surprised the whole time in order to like something? When it constantly has to be something they haven't seen before, in a series that is constantly repeating the exact same plot in every arc. It's almost like saying they are going to like it less and less the more it goes on, and not because it was never good to begin with. Thus, once again it is proven why the majority of anime fans are a bunch of clowns.
And we haven't seen anything even close to that.
Since ReZero is heading for Anime of the Year without deserving it, here are 10 reasons why it's not nearly as good as they make it seem to be. Number 1. The protagonist is not normal. The fanboys keep on saying he's different compared to any other isekai protagonist. Because he's not special, he's not born to be a hero, he's not the son of some god, and he's coming from a normal family. He's just an average guy thrown in an isekai where he is expected to be special, but he isn't. All that are bullshit because he's basically a cringy otaku, and that doesn't make him any different from most protagonists in isekai who are also otakus. His personality is not special in any way, since he's delusional and obsessed with the typical shit we get in any such show. He's one of the same shit. The only thing that doesn't make him normal is the fact that he's an otaku. Normal people are not otakus who act like him. He's called normal only by the other otakus who are watching this shit. So when people are saying the show is great because of the protagonist, that is not true. He is nothing special, and I know many who dislike his personality. Just for comparison, check out Grimgar, which has far more normal people in an isekai. Number 2. The protagonist has broken powers. The fanboys keep on saying he is different compared to any other isekai protagonist because he's not overpowered as hell. He's just an average guy who doesn't excel at anything, trying to survive in a world where everybody can kick his ass. Which is a lie. What the hell is Return from Death if not broken as hell? He is basically immortal because of it, there is nothing that can counter it, and he can redo everything as many times as he likes until he has a perfect playthrough where he is fully healed, everyone is alive, and everything works out fine. How is that not broken? For comparison, check out Here and There to see what it's actually like to have people with no powers thrown in a setting where everyone is more competent than they are, and where there are no do-overs. Number 3. There is no urgency. Since the protagonist can redo everything as many many times as he likes until he does it right, there is nothing to worry about. He's eventually going to do everything right, even if it takes him a million tries. There are no stakes, therefore there is no tension. And no, just because he freaks out a bit every time he dies, or one of his waifus hates him for a while, doesn't count as urgency, tension, or stakes. He has saved thousands of people numerous times, and everybody is fine. Including his waifu that can't wake up. She's not dead, she can wake up in the future because her situation is not permanent. In the immortal words of Chibi, she is perma-dead for now. When there are no negative repercussions, how can there be urgency, tension, or stakes? Number 4. Suffering is not special. The fanboys keep on saying the protagonist is constantly suffering and that is supposed to make him different from any other protagonist who doesn't struggle or suffer. What does that even mean? That there are no other protagonists who suffer? Your average shonen protagonist suffers all the time in training and then in battle. What, they don't suffer enough? Even within the isekai subgenre, I mentioned 2 titles where the protagonists suffer, and on top of that they can't undo the negative repercussions. Maybe the mental damage he suffers is more than anyone else? It doesn't exist. He goes back to normal after a while with a fully healed body and with everyone he cares about being alive and well, including the ones who wanted to kill him and are now his best friends. So shut up about the suffering part. It's not special in any way. It's superficial gore porn that gets undone every time he dies. Even Elfen Lied had more meaningful gore porn because it wasn't getting undone every 2 episodes. Number 5. There is no character development. The fanboys keep on saying the protagonist changes a lot as time goes by because he realizes he's not special. Which is a lie because he keeps realizing he's not special since episode 1 and yet he continues being a jackass. Also, his supposed character development by freaking out every time he dies goes away after a few minutes of sleeping on the lap of a waifu. So basically he hasn't changed one bit. He's not even consistent with ending his own life. What the hell did he learn doing better after so many times he died? One moment he doesn't want to die, another moment he offs himself so he won't have to suffer, and a third time he doesn't off himself by carrying a knife despite suffering a lot and the playthrough going to shit. No consistency whatsoever. Number 6. The plot progression is shit. The fanboys often refuse to admit Subaru is not learning as the plot goes on, because more information keeps becoming available about the witches. So as long as he learns more things, he changes, and as long as the viewer learns more things about the mystery, there is plot progression. Both claims are false. Learning more things and not acting differently because of them is not character development, and it's definitely not plot progression. People talking for hours about the setting doesn't move the plot forward. By definition, constantly dying and going back in time doesn't let the plot move forward. The second season in specific had 0 progress. As much as the fanboys will claim the mystery is the plot, it doesn't change the fact that there is no progression, both in the protagonist and the plot. Number 7. Too much talking. Over half of the total duration is people sitting on a table and talking for hours. It's the typical problem of saying it without bothering to show it that all light novels suffer from. It becomes boring very fast and only theory crafters would like it because it makes them make up theories for what they are talking about without ever seeing it. Everybody else would be bored of it after a while, to the point they won't care about what is going on. In fact, if you look around at the questions people have about the show, they come down to not understanding what is going on because on one hand the plot is going nowhere, and on the other hand they zone out because of the endless talking. Number 8. It's too repetitive. The plot structure, not the plot progression since that doesn't exist, is always the same thing. Subaru learns something, he dies, and he repeats the same events where he learns something more. It happened so many times in the exact same way, it has quickly become predictable and expectable. You can't call it shocking or unexpected, and you definitely got desensitized to the gore porn, so there is no excitement anymore. You know what is going to happen because it's always the exact same thing. Number 9. Everything is a plot device. If you notice all the things the fanboys are praising the show for, they all have to do with Subaru. What he's going through, what he's realizing, what every other character helps him understand. Not a single word about any of the other characters or the setting of the show, because they don't matter. Their only purpose of existing is for Subaru to have something to do, meaning they are all plot devices. The cast is artificial and the world is fake, exactly because they can't exist without Subaru doing something. And by the way, even Subaru is eventually a plot device. because he has no control over his power, and he's just reacting to everything that is going on around him. He's just a toy of the witch, running around because she's messing with him. The entire show is like a purgatory that exists just because she wants to make him suffer for whatever reason. That's why everything about the show is fake. And number 10, it's a crappy light novel. It's up the ass in waifus, sexual fetishes, gore porn and cringy otaku humor. You can't have a good show with such elements. Even the good aspects are ruined because of the dumb shit it's so full of. You can't call it a masterpiece when it's so flawed, and the only things people remember about it are the waifu shipping episodes and the over-the-top edgelord violence. It's not Subaru's non-existent character development, it's not the plot's non-existent progression, and it's not the cast or the setting, which can't even exist on their own. And that is why ReZero is shit, and why you should feel bad for liking it.
After I watched this episode, I was left with emotions. And so when I took online to see what people were saying, all I saw was honestly mostly negativity about this episode, which makes me sad. I wonder if it's because I'm just naive. Maybe I'm just like too big of a mega fan of ReZero. There's a lot of themes that's thrown into this episode, and there's a lot of emotionally charged moments. It's been built up for basically 9 years. The biggest haters of ReZero has to be the fans of ReZero. It really makes me sad. I wonder if it's because I'm just naive. Maybe I just overlook flaws. We got closure to this build-up, these side characters that honestly I really have loved since I first laid eyes upon them. A lot of the fan base just was extremely toxic. Maybe I'm just too naive, maybe I'm too positive about things. I was so emotionally invested in this episode. How do people not get emotional about this? Always constantly negative about the whole thing every single week. It's really sad, honestly. Maybe I'm naive or something. I know it's not like the main plot point of the story because it's not Subaru or anything. I love this episode and it makes me incredibly sad to just see the negativity around it. Maybe I'm naive or something.
5 years ago, ReZero came out, and one of the things I never stopped saying is how there are no negative consequences in that show. They are all magically fixed all the time. The fanboys kept calling me names for 5 years because in their delusional minds, there are a lot of permanent consequences. Whenever I ask them what they are talking about, the only thing they can bring up is how Rem will never recover from the coma. This one thing out of the hundreds that got magically fixed was enough for mocking me for 5 years. I kept telling them even that will be undone in the future, but they didn't listen. And guess what happened in the recent events of the source material? Rem woke up. The only thing they could use to prove what a big idiot I am, for always knowing it will not be permanent, is now gone forever. Obviously the goalpost will conveniently change to Rem woke up, but she has amnesia, so there are consequences and you're still stupid, snob. So just to make clear that we all know what is going to happen here, she will gain back her memories and there will never be any negative consequences in ReZero. And it's definitely going to happen because the snob is always proven to be right, no matter how many years you make fun of him. And in case you wonder how I know that, the answer is simple. In C-grade writing, if something is not permanent, it can be undone and will be undone. Therefore, if someone is in a coma, he is definitely going to wake up. If the author wanted Rem to stay out of the plot permanently, he would have killed her off. He wouldn't put her in a coma. Using the exact same logic, in C-grade writing, if someone loses his memories, he is definitely going to get them back. If the author wanted Rem to never again remember Subaru, he would have made her a vegetable with irreparable brain damage. He wouldn't give her amnesia. Because down to it, ReZero is a power fantasy for antisocial virgins who hate their lives and want to escape to a magic fairyland, where no matter how many mistakes they make, nothing bad will ever come out of it. Hence why the coma was bullshit, hence why the amnesia is bullshit, and hence why the snub will always be proven to be right.
So Capella in general is just such a great character because her expressions, like look at this, okay? This is a very subtle thing. I love how she's able to get across this very depraved, degenerate tone. A great character. This cutesy tone that really is such an abomination. Very subtle. It's just super jarring and it works so well. I can't help but just be reminded of why I fell in love with this series in the first place. Super jarring. It's why I enjoy anime. It's why I love watching anime. Degenerate. Being able to sit down and really just analyze it and come away from it and be like, man, depraved. They want to give the audience, the fans, exactly what they want, and that is what they have been doing. Such an abomination. Which is what makes me sad when I see just so much negativity around the series. It is grotesque.
So as you all know by now, the third season of ReZero is one of the two anime everyone cares about right now. Since whatever I say about it will magically be deemed as hating it for the sake of hating it, I will instead show you what the fandom thinks about it. Let's go over the reviews on Mal, and to be fair, I will show you both the negatives and the positives, and then you will be free to figure out the consensus. Let's start with the negative one. He says the dialogue is cringe and very anime-like, it doesn't feel natural at all. Along with it, there is a lot of dead time, the direction is bad, and the animation is limited. All of these remarks are about the anime. Now let's see the positive one. It's nothing but a guy vlogging about his feels when he watched the first episode. He doesn't say anything about the actual show. It's just vapid reactionary words about his emotions. You have no idea what he's talking about because none of it is about the show. The second negative points out a really awful Sword Art Online type of abduction that took place in it. A one-dimensional rapist who wants to marry and have sex with a comatose virgin girl, and he treats her as a sex toy. There is also a mention of the large number of minor characters that nobody can care about, because they hardly got any screen time or matter in the long run. This review is about the show, and clearly lets you know what doesn't work. The second positive is not about the show. It's once again someone vlogging about how ReZero changed his life. He's not helping you understand a thing about it. It's all about him, writing a diary that matters only to him. The third negative review points once again the huge number of lolis that are now part of Subaru's harem, how even Emilia is now talking like a virtual waifu, and how the rushed character introductions make it hard for you to care about any of them. It's a review that clearly tells you the problems with the show. The third negative only talks about superficial things like Subaru is suffering, the voice acting is good, it looks pretty, and has nice sounds. At least this one is about the show. This reviewer, though, doesn't give a shit about plot or characters. As long as he gets colores bonitos, then he is pleased. The fourth negative is someone pointing out why he's fed up with the series. It's a loli harem about a neat otaku who never changes clothes. He doesn't care about anything and feels like he wasted his time. It's almost like a vlog, but it still tells you why he didn't like it by mentioning things about the show. And he clearly cares about plot and characters, not pretty colors and nice sounds like the previous one. The fourth positive finds it funny that Rem is in coma. He laughs with Subaru's suffering. He likes how the animation style changed to look like a hentai because it's pleasing to the eye. This one only cares about enjoyment, even if said enjoyment comes down to laughing at people suffering and jerking off to animated titties. The fifth negative has a very detailed bullet point format that explains why the show became immature. Everything he wrote is about things that are bad about the show. And finally, the fifth positive is someone not saying a thing about the show. He's just hyping it with buzzwords such as Absolute Cinema! And then shoehorns his YouTube channel so he can sell you merchandise. That's the fakest type of non-review you can find, because it's just someone making excuses for exploiting and profiting out of people's addiction to animated titties. And there you have it. Now you have an objective view of what the community thinks about the show. I didn't say these things, everyone else said these things. Therefore you have to accept them as facts. ReZero is a loli harem with cringy hentai dialogue and a lot of characters you can't care about. But it doesn't matter if it looks pretty, it's fun to see Subaru suffering, and you subscribe to YouTube channels so they can sell you Rem Dakimakuras.
It is grotesque.
Many of you didn't like the video about the objective consensus regarding ReZero. The opinions of 10 people can't be enough to have the full picture, so here are 10 more people to give you even more objective facts. I am sure you will all agree after this one. First negative review. The lolis have taken over the show. ReZero is now for pedophiles. He's not the first who said it, therefore we have consensus. First positive. People hated the protagonist during the first season, they only love him now. This is not true. Everyone loved him because he was a NEET who was suffering just like them. This reviewer is lying. The first episode being 90 minutes long was a great idea because it gave you a lot of exposition. More lying. People liked it because Subaru was surrounded by his lowly harem. It was otherwise nothing but talking and talking, which bored everyone. The reviewer is also saying he liked it because he got several episodes at once, which is the typical mentality of consume product and be excited for more products. Therefore, those who like the show for this reason are not part of the consensus. Second negative, it's nothing but talking and talking, which bored everyone. He's not the first who said it, you'll see that everyone said this. Therefore, we have consensus. Second positive, he hates the main character because he constantly yells and suffers. That is a lie, since the main appeal of the story is Subaru yelling and suffering. Therefore, those who like the show for this reason are not part of the consensus. Third negative, the show became boring and nothing more than very long monologues, waifus, and nonsensical fights. As you see once again, he's not the first one who said it, therefore we have consensus. Third positive, the MC does not overshadow everyone, he doesn't fix problems alone, and easily gets everything he needs. Despite this often being used in favor of the show, it's nothing but lies, since he does overshadow everyone. Nobody cares about the minor characters, and there is a ton of them by now. Also, he is the one who fixes every problem, since he is the only one who can retry infinite times until he can do something right. Nobody else can do that. He is the only one who keeps changing things around until he gets what he wants. Even if that means asking others for help, it doesn't change the fact that it's he, using a super broken power that overshadows everyone else, finding the solution and getting what he wants on what is in effect the first try. Since any attempt that fails does not matter and nobody remembers it happened, we follow the one where he succeeds on his first try. Once again, you cannot trust the ones who like the show because they are constantly lying about it. With that said, this is one of the most repeated lies and it has become a consensus. Fourth negative, the talking is boring, the characters are shallow, and it's made for degenerates. He is far from the first who said it, therefore we have consensus. Fourth positive, I like it because it's good, and it's good because I like it. Yet another vlogger who talks about his feels and says nothing about the actual show. There is nothing here that can be part of a consensus, since nothing is about ReZero. Fifth negative, he used to like Subaru during the first season, but by now he realized he's nothing but a shonen protagonist written by a coomer. Everyone is one-dimensional, they keep introducing lowlies and degenerates. The plot keeps slowing down with more and more dialogue. It became nothing but the author's sexual fantasies and lost everything that he liked about it at first. This is what everybody says, he's not the first who said it, therefore we have consensus. And finally, the fifth positive, which doesn't review anything. It's clearly a bot that simply summarizes the premise and has absolutely no opinion about the anime. It doesn't even talk about the anime, since it said it's a manhwa, not a light novel or an anime. This is all fake and completely out of touch of reality. No consensus whatsoever. And there you have it. Now everyone can agree on what ReZero actually is. Since it's not me who said it, it's all of you. For the second time. It is now clear as day that ReZero is complete trash, and if you like it, you are a degenerate who likes boring shows.
It is grotesque.
My first ReZero tards video was not received well. Many think there is nothing wrong with the show apparently. So it's time to check the consensus about the anime for the third time. Let's see if the majority has any problems or it's just me. As always, I will be showing one positive review followed by one negative, just so I can be fair. Here is the first positive. He gave it a 10 for battles that haven't happened yet. He didn't even need to see if they were animated properly, he just gave the show a 10. Such a wonderful justification one can expect from the intelligence of someone who likes this cringe fest. Here is the first negative. He mentions several reasons for why the show is bad. This is what reviewing is all about. Mentioning if the elements of the show are done right. It is not giving it a perfect score without even watching it. Second positive. ReZero is a masterpiece. If you like ReZero, you will love ReZero. Amazing justification. If you like bad guys, you will like ReZero. Such a strong reason. Not many anime have bad guys. Perfect score. Second negative. It became a lolly harem ecchi isekai. It's like an abusive relationship where you stick around because of time sink fallacy. Actual reasons that you realize by watching the show, not by liking the show for the sake of liking the show, or because it has bad guys. Third positive, ReZero is a masterpiece, but he lacks the words to describe it. He likes it, but he doesn't know why. Then he says the season carries and stops there. He doesn't explain why it carries, it just does. That is how his review ends. Amazing critical skills. Third negative, it's constant talking where they keep repeating the same things over and over. This is an actual reason for not liking a show. It's not liking it without knowing why you like it. Fourth positive, ReZero is different from all other isekai and that makes it better. Even though different does not mean better, and in fact most of the times it ends up being shit for not following basic writing tips. Then he says all other isekai are power fantasies, while ReZero is the only isekai where the protagonist struggles. This is a double lie if you actually watch other isekai. Not only there are several isekai which are not power fantasies, there are also isekai that aren't a lolly harem like ReZero. Then he says all that Subaru faces inspire him to not give up. I am sure if you are giving the power of infinite retries without the possibility of ever failing, or without a reason for why you are giving the power, and you are living in a lolly harem, you would definitely have the strength to not give up. But you don't have the power of infinite retries, and you can only live in a lolly harem if you are a very rich Muslim. Thus your justification for liking the show is based on deception and immorality. Fourth negative, Subaru is an insufferable cringe lord. The bad guys are evil psychopaths for the sake of it, and only degenerates are still watching it, chained by the lolly waifus. Now that's a legit reason someone would say about a story that gives you infinite retries in a lolly harem. Fifth positive, it's one of the best isekai. That's it. That's the review. Amazing justification. And finally, the fifth negative, it has literally become the generic isekai of fellating Japanese culture in another world, lusting lollies, random evil cultists attacking evilry, exposition dumb pep talks of brain-damaging dialogue, etc. Actual reasons for not liking the show, not just saying he liked it and then be done with it. Therefore, we reached the conclusion that many people don't like the show, and downvoting my video because they like cringe lords and lolly harems without even explaining why, won't change that!
It is grotesque.